Hey guys, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. If you are a returning viewer, then thank you so much for coming back. And if you are new, thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you decide to stay tuned for the whole video because today we are building in the brand new world of Henford-on-Bagley. And we don't exclusively use just the new cottage living pack items, but I do try to use most of them, and if not a lot of them, and including the ones that are from the debug and the live edit objects, which you can see I'm placing down right now. But before we get into the build, I will just quickly say and just kind of explain to you what we are building today. We are building a large family farmhouse, and when I say a large family farmhouse, I don't mean a farmhouse for a large family necessarily. I more or less mean it's a family home, but it's on a somewhat larger lot, and it is a farmhouse. So we do end up having a llama, a cow, and chickens. I guess you could have 2 cows or 2 llamas, but I do place down 2 sheds and 1 chicken coop. There will also be a pond in the back along with one of the debug items, I guess, or live edit object items of a water tower. And I don't really know if the water tower would necessarily be for anything specific other than, like, it's not really a functional thing, obviously, but I just thought it would kind of give it that more of like a rustic feel, I guess, and maybe that this farmhouse has been here for a long time, but maybe it's been slightly updated on the outside and or the inside. I just really liked the look of it, and I felt like it made it really seem like we're out here in the country, and maybe this family, along with this well in the front yard, you know, they live off of the land, and that's kind of what we were going for here today. This lot does end up having 2 lot challenges, I believe. We have the Reduce and Recycle lot challenge, as well as the Simple Living lot challenge, which I felt like made a lot of sense. They do have a cow here, so they can have milk. They have chickens, so therefore they have eggs, and we can just pretend that they have their own or provide their own water because they have a water tower, as well as I do end up building a pond in the backyard. But I wanted to quickly say, before we get too far into the build here, that the whole layout was heavily inspired by one of Sim Lissy's most recent sort of farmhousey builds here in Henford-on-Bagley. And if you don't know who Sim Lissy is, she's another builder here on YouTube. Her builds are so amazing. A lot of them are very cluttered, which was one of the reasons why I was kind of attracted to her aesthetic in the first place, and her videos, was because she just puts so much detail into all of her builds, and I looked up to that. I was inspired by it. And it just, watching her videos really gets me hyped up to make my own videos. So a lot of the times I will watch her builds, but as well as other people's builds before I go into build my own speed builds. I just said build so many times, but basically the layout that she did in one of her most recent videos, she has this well in the middle, and she kind of creates this little roundabout in front of it for the cars. And even though we don't have functioning cars, it is nice to pretend that we do, and just to make builds look very realistic. And that's what I went for here. And originally I didn't want my build to look super similar to her, so that's why I did put the garage off to the left in the very beginning of the build, but then I wasn't gonna really have enough room with what I was envisioning in my head. And basically what I wanted was for the front yard to have this roundabout. So instead of having like a formal driveway where you would pull up into the garage, or you just park in front of your home, I liked this idea of it being kind of like, okay, we've got this dirt path leading up to the home. You can pull up your car, park around the well somewhere, hop out, and go hang out with the family or something. So that's what I did here, and that was a lot inspired by Sim Lissy, like I mentioned earlier. So if you guys want to check her out on YouTube, and as well as her Instagram and her Twitter, I believe they're all the same handles, but it's SIMLICY. So Sim Lissy. I believe her name is Dawn, but anyway, her builds are great. Instead of me repeating myself over and over again, let's just get past this. But basically, I wanted one side of the front yard to be kind of an area where you have your sheds and your chicken coops, And the other side, I want it to be activities for the kids that live here. So I do end up placing a swing set, a little picnic basket it's like right next to where the tractor is. So I kind of imagine that maybe the tractor hasn't been used for a while. I do put a lot of live edit object plants around it to kind of make it look like it hasn't moved for, maybe a year or so. Maybe the family doesn't use it that often. But I also placed one of those brand new little tents for toddlers and children to play in. I believe that was in a base game update. I don't totally remember because that and the country kitchen kit, I kind of all happened around the same time for me, but I believe it is part of base game now, and it's just a really cute item, and I wanted to incorporate it here in the home, but the rooms end up being a little bit narrow, but you will see they all end up being very cute and functional, and they work just fine. So I did place down, like I think I had mentioned earlier, I placed down some live edit objects because I knew that there were certain ones that I wanted to use, but I also wanted to see what we had to work with here. So I placed down a ton of those, and then I ended up building the shell of the home. And I got very lucky because I feel like the way that I kind of started out this build wasn't really a great way to do it. So I would recommend building the shell first at least, and then maybe going through the debug and live edit objects, because you might start placing down all these things and figuring out where you're going to place everything in terms of space and stuff. And I definitely didn't do that. And it all worked out fine, but it could have been a recipe for disaster, to be honest. I could have realized I don't have enough space for the home that I envisioned here. I could have made it smaller because I didn't have any idea of what I really wanted this house to look like, other than I wanted it to look more like a farmhouse or a country house versus like a cottage, I guess. So with that being said, that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to create a lot of garden patches, and I do end up having my sim go through and place some oversized crops as well as just some normal crops like blueberries, or is it blackberries? I don't remember, but I know raspberries are new. And then they also place down like a tomato, grapes, spinach, sage, basil, all that stuff. Basically, I don't want this sim to really have to go to the grocery store very often or have to order deliveries very often, because those can get very expensive. I was having my sims do that in the beginning while their crops weren't totally ready for harvesting yet. And I was like, wow, I don't really want to be spending this much money every couple of days. And I do end up moving in a family here that had 2 children. Now they have 3, because I've now since had my sims have 1 more child. And I do end up having 3 kids' bedrooms. So that was kind of why I did that. But it'll get expensive the more kids you have, obviously. It can be a lot like real life in the sense of, the more commitment and the more priorities you bring into your life, the more expensive things can get and the more hectic your life can get. So these sims are very busy with all of their crops that they have, as well as a cow and a llama and some chickens. But luckily, the kids can help out, which is such a nice thing to have now that kids can help cook. I feel like overall they don't really do a ton, but it's helpful, and it's a way for your sims to have more sentiment toward each other and just spend more time together, which I really love, because it kind of reminds me a little bit of like we're going more toward potentially having like a generations pack or something like that. Even if we don't get a generations pack, it would just be nice to have some activities for your sims that your sims can do together as a family and friends. And just I really like the idea of this now with this pack and with the base game update. Now your sims can cook together and all that stuff. I'm really enjoying it. So anyway, this is where I am kind of cluttering up the outside a little bit, making this tractor look like it hasn't moved in a while. And to be honest, I don't even know where this tractor would really fit. I guess you could kind of drive it past the well into the backyard, but it's really just for decorative purposes. It's cute. I like it there. It makes this home look like, that these sims are very self-sufficient, and they live off of the land, which is definitely what I was going for here. But I wanted to place some wisteria here, but I don't know. I think I need to mess around with it just a little bit more here. And these plants that are off to the side of the house, I actually don't even put any off to the side of the house, but they're on the side of the garage. Those look really good to me, but I just couldn't make it look good climbing all the way up the wall that way. I don't know. I need to practice with it a little bit more. And then as you could see, I did start to place down a fence that is outside of where the chicken coop and the animal shed is. And I do end up getting rid of it because my cow was really hard to reach. And my cow would come out of its shed and be hungry or be dirty and need to be milked. And it would just be standing right like alongside this fence here. And my sim couldn't get to it. So I did end up deleting it off camera, I'm pretty sure. And I believe I do extend quite a bit of this area, so we are able to end up fitting in 2 sheds and this chicken coop still. So you will see that in the screenshots. And I guess while we're kind of mentioning screenshots here and we're just kind of messing around with terrain paint a little bit, I wanted to say that if anything is ever different in screenshots versus what you see in the actual build itself, there's usually a good reason behind it. It's either not functional, or I just ended up not liking the look of it, or I felt not super confident in it, which usually comes along with me not liking the look of something. But for the most part, it will be because something wasn't functioning properly, or I wanted to add something that I felt like the build was missing, but it wasn't necessarily worth putting into the speed build. So there will be a few differences, but basically whatever you guys see in the screenshots of my build is what you will get if you decide to download any of these builds off of the gallery. So that was one difference. And I think that's pretty much one of the only things I do change about this build. Every now and then there's little tweaks here and there where maybe I move something just like ever so slightly, but it's never going to be a crazy huge change where it's going to be like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this in my build. But I just figured I'd mention that since we were kind of in that area a little bit. But this build required lots and lots of landscaping, and I definitely got a lot of practice with landscaping here because, again, it's a lot of ground to cover, quite literally, and we did end up with lots and lots of good live edit objects. So when it comes to, I think I do it a little bit later because I didn't quite know what these items were at first, but I end up placing all of these little patches of, they almost remind me of like poppies a little bit, but they're basically just like wildflowers and mushrooms and just some like little tiny pieces of grass. I end up placing those pretty much all over the build, and it just looks so good. It makes it look that much more realistic. I feel like a lot of our previous live edit objects and debug items, like when you would place them down, it would look really good, you know, in the menu, but then once you go to place it, it's like these really harsh edges and the shadowing would be weird. But all of these items are just amazing, and it works really well for kind of blending in these ponds a little bit better to the landscaping. And overall, I'm just really happy with this pack. And at first, I wasn't super crazy about it. I mean, of course, I'm so happy for everyone that wanted farming, and you know, this is a great pack for anyone that wanted farming. I would have assumed that we would have gotten some more animals, like some goats, and I for sure thought horses would be included in this pack. But overall, since I wasn't, you know, super crazy or wanting and hoping for a farming pack, I am very happy with this because at the end of the day, I love to have my Sims be into gardening and, you know, growing their own fruits and vegetables and plants and things like that, because we have actually just starting this year, it was a couple months ago, my husband and my father-in-law had built this really cool little planter box, and we have some tomatoes, zucchini, peppers, jalapenos, basil, lavender. We have a lot of different things in there, and it's really cool just being like, all right guys, let's get ready for dinner. Let's you know, make some pasta with some salad, and going out there and grabbing some basil and some tomatoes, fresh out of our garden. It's a really cool feeling, and you just feel like, first of all, I'm saving money. I don't have to go to the grocery store because we're missing this one main item for a salad or something. And a lot of the times I like to make my Sims live, a good life, or a life that I would like to live. And since I don't live on a farm, but I do have, this nice little planter box in the backyard, it's just, I don't know what I'm trying to say exactly, other than I just like when my Sims can kind of live a life that I want to live, because I can almost live vicariously through them. I hope that makes sense. I feel like it should make sense, but since we just kind of threw some random items into the garage, I should mention, since I was saying like sometimes my screenshots are a little bit different than what you see in speed builds, I do end up making the garage just a tad bit smaller because, to be honest, it was pretty large and it didn't need to be that big. I liked the look of it on the outside, but on the inside, I had no idea what to really put in there, other than I knew I wanted to put just some random storage items in there just for the looks. And I also wanted to put some juicing items in there. So I do end up making it smaller because at the end of the day, I really wanted to have a cow and a llama. And you will see later, once we're kind of decorating this build a little bit, I do believe I placed 2 different llama figurines throughout the home. And after I did that, I was like, well, we definitely need to have a llama here. So that's what I did. And now we are working on the floor plan. So this floor plan came together very well. I did struggle a little bit with the upstairs, but I ended up cutting that out of the build because it honestly only took a few seconds to really like fix, and it just ends up working out very well. I like when master bedrooms therefore, it being a master bedroom, it would typically have, an ensuite bathroom. I was very, very happy to be able to incorporate that into this build. But a lot of the times when I do have a master bedroom, I like to have it doesn't necessarily need to be like in its own wing of the home or anything, but I like when it's either at the very beginning of the hallway or the very end of the hallway, or whatever your setup is. I like when it's kind of like off in its own area, if that makes any sense. Like, I like when all the kids' bedrooms or, extra bedrooms are near each other, and then the master bedroom is like the last door, basically. I hope that makes sense. But I just feel like it makes most sense that way. It's a little bit more desirable to kind of live in, and I try to think very realistically when it comes to my builds. And I just feel like that happens a lot. Like, you have these master bedrooms that are downstairs, but then all the other extra bedrooms are upstairs. So it's like they have their own privacy, which I feel is important. If you have a spouse, it is nice to be able to have privacy, and it's a nice thing that I like to include in my builds when I can, assuming that the floor plan works well and I don't need to switch up like the outside of my build too much. But here we are just kind of starting to put together the kitchen. I was extremely pleased that this pack came with 2 refrigerators. I'm obsessed with the Smeg looking refrigerator, but I used that in my last build, and I also sometime last week had posted a Farmhouse kitchen that had the same fridge in it as well. So I wanted to switch it up for this build and just kind of make some more of my content a little bit different, and not that they're identical, but just use some of the items. And I don't know, I like how the cabinet looking one that almost is like the wood looking fridge, I like how it looks with this color and just with these cabinets in general. Although I don't understand why the swatches don't match perfectly to, the cabinets, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world. It still looks really good together. But here we pretty much just threw together the dining room very quickly. I was afraid that this dining room wasn't going to be very functional, and it was gonna be like your Sims get congested here a little bit too often. So I did open it up with some spandrels instead of a wall and an archway. And then here, I don't know if you noticed, but I mix and matched the Country Kitchen kit cabinets. Wow, that was like a total tongue twister. With the brand new packs cabinets. It's still like, I'm like thinking in my head, I keep wanting to say counter, but I do mix and match them. And they look really good together. They're slightly, just ever so slightly a different color blue, but I feel like overall it's really not that noticeable. Maybe if I didn't point it out and if you guys weren't paying very close attention, you might not even have noticed, other than the curtains on each of the cabinets are different colors. One's pink and one's yellow. And that was why I originally mix and matched it, because I saw that the cabinets, like the curtains on the cabinets were pink, and I was like, ugh, like, there's nothing wrong with pink. I just didn't see that for this family. I wanted there to be not really much pink here. I don't know. That this family, to me, when I was building here, I just didn't see pink working here for some reason. So I mixed and matched, and I'm actually really glad that I did. And here I'm just kind of cluttering up the cabinets a little bit more. And I ended up swapping out that little corner piece cabinet or end piece cabinet with these two shelves here. So I do use my red shelf here, and if you guys haven't seen this red shelf before, which I feel like if you've seen lots of builders and other speed builds, you've probably seen this red shelf before, but I will leave the link for it down below. It's a very handy tool when it comes to free placing items, especially when you size down certain things. You do need a wall in order to use it, of course, because it is considered a shelf, so you can't just, be out in the middle of the field trying to free place items on top of other items. You have to have a wall there. But either way, it's very handy. I love it, and it comes in, oh my gosh, I'm going to say handy again, but it comes in handy really well when it comes to being having your builds be very cluttered, and I would just recommend it. So again, the link is in my description down below, so if you guys want to download it or just go and check it out, you can click that link and check it out. Wow, you guys, this video is a long one, and I was very much a little nervous about this voiceover because it is a very long build. This video does end up being voiceover time ends up being close to 36 minutes. And so I was very nervous about this, but it is what it is. I love to talk, so I kind of got myself into the situation, but here we are just putting together the laundry room. I wouldn't go to say that this is like one of my favorite rooms, but I just love how quickly I was able to put it together. A lot of the times I have trouble putting together certain rooms when it comes to cluttering and wallpapers and just honestly anything, but especially cluttering, I have issues with, because I love clutter, and a lot of the times I go a little too overboard, and then I realized, I've been spending 20 minutes on this one small room, like it's so unnecessary. But I was able to put it together pretty quickly. And it helps that I knew exactly what I wanted to do for the most part. At least I wanted it to be rather cluttered, but not too much. But still, I wanted it to look like a proper laundry room / mudroom is really what it is. And here we are now into the living room. I knew I wanted to use this couch because in my last build, I didn't use it, I don't think. I used, a tiny living or a nifty knitting little love seat. So here I'm using this larger couch. I have heard a lot of people say this, and I could totally agree. I really wished that we had a love seat version of this, because I would have placed it here. But I was glad that I do end up using these taller armchairs from the Cats and Dogs pack. I think they go really well here. A lot of items from that pack can look very country-ish, because I feel like that pack it's very nautical, but it also can kind of go along with country living and maybe like a farmhouse style home as well. So those do look really good here. So I guess it's okay that I didn't have the love seat, but again, would have loved to have that, and I probably still would have placed one of these armchairs anyway. And then over here in the corner, I put this little bookcase along with one of the, I think that lamp is also from Cats and Dogs, and one of our new little armchairs from the new Cottage living pack. So that goes along with this couch. It comes in the same exact swatches, I'm almost certain. And I wanted to kind of bring the pinks, well, right after I said that I don't really see pinks working out for this family, I feel like it's more of like a peachy or like coral colored pink. But I wanted to kind of make the pink flowers along with, or like kind of intertwined with the flowers here in the wallpaper. I wanted to make it pop a little bit, so that's why I decided to have that little pop of color in the corner with that armchair. And then over here, of course, I wanted to take advantage of this brand new typewriter, which is one of our new items from the Cottage Living Pack. And I wanted to make this area be maybe a little bit more catered toward the kids that live in this home. Maybe one of them wants to be a writer, but they're still a kid, so maybe they're not totally sure yet, so they mess around with their typing skills here and maybe some typing video games on here. So I just thought that would be kind of a cute little touch. And I do place down a dog bed here, or a pet bed, but I always see this as being more of a dog bed because your cats don't need such a big bed, but either way it works. I do place this pet bed though, and I pictured for this farm that this family has at least 1 or 2 animals, whether it's, 2 cats or 2 dogs or one of each. So I do end up, with the family that I move in here, I do end up having them have 2 dogs, 1 lab, and a, what are those called? The Australian cattle dogs. So I felt like, well, I know for a fact that both of those breeds are very good when it comes to like having land and having property. They both have a lot of energy. They both like hunting and are good at hunting. The cattle dogs are obviously good with cattle, so cows. And I just felt that it made perfect sense to have 2 dogs here, or at least 1 dog here. So I did place down some pet bowls and the pet bed, obviously. But now we are in this bathroom, and I will say the way that this bathroom turned out it turned out very well. I am obsessed with what I did with this bathroom. So with the combination of the brand new wallpaper from the Cottage Living Pack and the tile from the Country Kitchen Kit, works out so well as I believe those are the Country Kitchen Kit counters as well. It looks so good together. The colors complement each other very well with this dark wood kind of mixed in with the cabinet, or I guess the counter, and the mirror. It just looks great together. And then with these, is that a medicine cabinet and kind of like that cluttered little, I don't even know what you would call that, but it's just a miscellaneous decor. Oh my gosh, I said that so weird. It's a miscellaneous decorative item from Parenthood. It's kind of like that lighter wood tone color, which goes really well with the tops of the cabinets or the countertops in that bathroom. So I don't know, I love the way that looked. So I do end up making the master bathroom that's attached to the parents' bedroom almost not identical, but I used pretty much the same exact items for that, except it's not it doesn't have the tub where it's like the shower curtain tub. It's actually like I have a separate tub along with a separate shower, so your Sims could get ready simultaneously together, which I feel like is a very nice thing to have about a master bathroom, is that your Sims can get ready at the same time. Maybe they both wake up early and get ready for their day, and they go take care of their crops or their animals before the kids wake up, and they can get ready together. So that's what I was going for. And when it comes to, this bedroom, and as well as the hallway outside of all the bedrooms upstairs, I totally forgot to record. So this was a different day, or at least it was later in the day, and I started building and like decorating up here, and all of a sudden my brain just clicked, and I was like, oh, you're not recording, Ashley, what are you doing? But luckily I hadn't gotten too far, and you guys honestly didn't miss much. And as always, these photos will be in the screenshots, so if there's any details that you felt like you missed out on or wanted to see more up close and personal, they will be in the screenshots for you. And since we're here talking about screenshots, I wanted to mention that I do have an Instagram. So if you guys want to see the screenshots up close, then you can follow me over on my Instagram. My name over there is ashleyyangelinaa with 2 Y's and 2 A's at the end of Angelina. And that is also my name on the EA gallery. So if you guys are looking for my EA ID, just type in ashleyyangelinaa with 2 Y's and 2 A's at the end of Angelina. But here we have put together the master bathroom, and it looks great. I'm obsessed with it. It's honestly one of my favorite bathrooms. I mean, that one and the one downstairs, because they look the same. So they're both kind of equally my favorite. But the parents' bathroom is a little bit bigger and a little bit nicer. So I guess we could say that one's my favorite. But here I used pretty much the same-ish items up here. I used the same counters and the same sink and the same toilet. And of course, clutter items, the same, like toothpaste or a toothbrush cup and the little soap dispenser. But I wanted to make it more kid-friendly, so I did make it a little bit more colorful in here, and I placed a toddler potty. I can't remember if I placed it already. I think I did. I was literally just watching, but I felt like I just sped through it very quickly. But this is one of the first bedrooms that we are decorating now, for the kids at least, and I felt like this sim really is into animals. They did grow up on this farm, so naturally they're into animals, and they love taking care of the llama and the cow and the chickens. And they're also in, the Cub Scouts or the Girl Scouts, whatever you want to call it. They're a scout, and so that's why I placed the scout board here, as well as a hobby board. And I felt like this sim really likes to knit, so we do end up placing this little knitting desk here, which I was originally, I do end up making it a desk for your sim to, write in their journal and do homework, but I could also picture them doing crafts and knitting here. So that's what I was going for this sim. They're just very into animals and they like knitting. And so this sim can also help out, even as a child, to make some money for the family. They can sell different items on Plopsy or just straight out of their inventory. And a lot of the times when you make a good quality item through knitting or even the cross stitching, your sims can make a lot of money. So I thought that was kind of a nice thing to do. And the main reason I started thinking that this sim was into knitting was because I just really liked that desk from the Nifty Knitting Pack. I really wanted to incorporate that here. I felt like it looks kind of country-ish, so that's what we were going for here. But now we are on to the toddler bedroom. So I have mixed feelings about toddlers in The Sims 4. So they're very cute. They have cute little outfits. They have the cutest little faces, and I do like seeing them play and stuff. Their interactions with different items are very adorable, but they can be a bit annoying. But I do like to incorporate toddler items. I just think it makes builds look so cute, especially for family homes and whatnot. I feel like you just kind of need toddlers. I don't know. I just feel like they're not really like a growing or young family if you don't have a toddler. So I did make this toddler bedroom. If you're a little against toddlers, which I know there's lots of builders and players out there that are like, ugh, toddlers, they're so annoying, you could totally delete all these items and, have a kid in here, or make this like a hobby room or something. But I love the way this room ended up turning out. So I do end up placing one of the little baskets from Jungle Adventure on top of, or I guess in, this bookshelf here, and I thought it would be so cute to place toys in that basket. I don't know, I just thought it'd be really cute, especially for like screenshots and stuff. But I loved what I did there. That was like the first time I'd ever thought of that. I don't think I've personally ever seen anyone do that, so I was like giving myself a pat on the back, like I'm proud. I actually like thought of something organically and it looked really cute and it turned out. So I was really happy with the way this room turned out. So I would be a little bummed if you guys decided to not have a toddler here if you do download this off the gallery. But either way, it's in my build and I can enjoy it myself, and that's all I really need. But I think we're pretty much getting close to wrapping up this room. I do forget to place a rug in here though. So in the screenshots you will see I do have one of the fur rugs from City Living, I believe, in there, and it's like in a green swatch because I wanted that room to be kind of like this almost like nude pink, but with some touches of green in it. So it's more of like an earthy bedroom. So that's what we were going for. And then in this bedroom's actually very green as well. And what I thought for this sim, that this could either be a child sim or a teenager. And I just felt like that this sim really wants to be an interior decorator or maybe a photographer, but this sim really, like, as much as they love the countryside and maybe they do enjoy living on a farm, they want to do bigger and better things. They want to go move to San Myshuno and be an interior decorator, or maybe they want to do something in the fashion industry. So that's kind of what we were going for here. I do end up placing a keyboard in here, as well as I think I place a guitar too. So maybe this sim also just wants to work in the music industry, or that's just a little side hobby of theirs. So maybe they are, you know, working with fashion or interior design, but they also know how to play the keyboard and the guitar. I don't know. I just thought that was a really cool idea, and I thought it would be kind of nice to have this room be slightly different than the others. I mean, they're all very different from each other, but at the same time, I kind of embraced the countryside a little bit more in the other bedrooms, and so I wanted to switch that up because I just felt like this sim, they love their family and they love their home and they love where they were born and raised, but they just see themselves branching out and, like I said, just doing something different with their life. So that's what we went for here. I do end up wrapping up this room pretty quickly, I think. And then I think here is where we're just placing down some rugs. I'm making sure that the porch and everything has all that I imagined that they would need here. Here is where we're placing the toddler tent. And I just missed the icon. It's not a base game item though. It must be a country kitchen kit, but that's not something you would put in your kitchen. I mean, what is that even from, that item? I mean, I could be totally wrong, but anyway, we do end up placing some composting bins here. So I do end up placing crickets and grubs here for my Sims. And then here I wanted to incorporate a little campfire. I thought it would be like a nice little date idea for my Sims or for the family. They could do, you know, like ghost stories or something while roasting some marshmallows. And I just thought it'd be a cute idea. But here I believe is where we hop into the garage, and I think we stay in the garage here for a minute. So let's get into that. I'm pretty sure that I mentioned this earlier, but I thought that maybe it would be kind of a cool hobby or idea for these Sims to maybe not full time, but just be into juicing a little bit. And so I do end up placing the juice fizzing machine in the garage along with the recycling machine, because like I know for sure I mentioned earlier that one of the lot challenges here is reduce and recycle. So I felt like that would for sure come in handy. And I do just place some random storage items over here. I place, I think, the little ski rack from Snowy Escape. I place I know I place some random like paintings off to like the back of the build, or off to the back, like right here, along with a tarp and some debug paintbrushes here. I do place these decorative pile, or what are they called? These little boxes where your Sims can, you know, pull out decorations for different seasons and holidays and whatnot. And then I did want to incorporate a Christmas tree because after all, my Sims will probably want to decorate for Christmas because they have kids. And then I kind of wanted to separate it just a little bit, even though it doesn't really look that much separate now that I placed the spandrels. For me, it helped me kind of compartmentalize a little bit better. And then I wanted to place the what is that? Almost like a vendor table sort of. So my Sims can take that either, you know, to town center and they can sell their juices or their different products, like if they decide to plant some flowers or, you know, different crops, fruits, vegetables, milk, eggs, things like that. So that's what I was going for there. And then we're pretty much wrapping up the build. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much for watching, and please make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. I am somewhat a new builder here on YouTube, so I would really appreciate it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for a future build. Bye.
She's waiting for love to be realized. I'll send her my heart covered as a gift, and hope that you'll take it into her side. La 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 la.
I feel like lately my videos have been very echoey and you can hear my computer running in the background, and you don't need to work that hard, okay, computer? Just, I know that this is a long video and you're plugged into a lot of different components here, but like, we've done this before, so just calm down.